as sort of agenda for my portion of the presentation would be going over program types, what programs are available for students here, the process in which they go through advising up until the application process, the website, how to navigate it, information that's available to students, resources, so different opportunities on campus available for students and faculty, and then contacting us. So my contact information at the end. So there are three types of programs at Wayne State. So again, I work with the faculty-led programs. So those are short-term programs in which a Wayne State faculty member will come up with a theme, duration, location, time of year, typically 3 credit hour course. Sometimes it's more or less depending on the specific program. But those programs are typically 10 days up until 4 weeks, spring break, and then the summer term. We also have exchange programs. So those are longer semester, academic year, or summer term programs. Those are full-time status per duration. So you're taking, I believe, up to 15 credits minimum for semester academic year terms. And then summer term, I think, is 9 credit hours. Additionally, underneath that umbrella would be the junior year Munich program, which is a language intensive program on campus. And then the third type is external programs. So those are all of the durations, a semester academic year, summer term, spring break, or even a winter term. These companies are just external organizations that are for or nonprofit. They do what we do in the study abroad office just through an external organization. We personally provide students with a shorter, more vetted list of these programs that either we've worked with the companies in the past, we've had students go with positive feedback, or they've assisted with like a faculty-led program setup. So there are frankly hundreds of program providers out there, but we do send them a vetted list. Every once in a while, we'll get a student who does their own investigation and finds a very obscure external program or a program through another university. I would say that's rare, but that does come up every once in a while. But in terms of the search process, we always navigate them to start with our website, obviously, to see what's available currently. And if they can't find, their preferred program, that's when we'll bring in the external recommendations if they do not do the research in advance. This sort of process for kind of advising all the way through the application, this is sort of the preferred dynamic. It doesn't always go sort of in this order, but we try to have them meet with us first. So I'll have an advising session with them to explain their options for programs through Wayne State, using our website, a face-to-face connection so they can kind of, again, put a name to face, and then explaining the financial and academic requirements per program. The second phase of that would be narrowing down their program options. We recommend like between 1 and 3 that work best for them. And then speaking with financial aid to understand their own aid package and how scholarships and financial aid can help assist them with the program costs. Next would be having them come talk to their academic advisor to see which of these programs kind of meet their degree progress needs the best. And then they can go through the application process. So each type of program is kind of on a different timeline. Faculty-led are typically open starting in October for the whole academic year offerings. And then exchange programs have their own deadlines, and of course external are on their own deadlines as well. So that's kind of the preferred transition, but of course students sometimes go in and out of this at their own kind of pace, but that is their preferred. Navigating our websites. So let me go here. So this is our main Wayne State website. It has a lot of information on it itself, so they can sort of get an idea of the exploration process, the planning. They can look at the program finder, which we'll go to next. This planning tab has a lot of financial resource information, scholarships. There's information for faculty leaders to apply to do their own programs, our contact information, and then a sort of about study abroad in general. But For them to go and search through our programs, they'll click Explore and then our Program Finder. There's a few ways to navigate this site. So this is technically the site home. So to search programs, they can start here. You can look through this interactive map tool. By region, they can list all of the options, look at everything all at once, do a simple or an advanced search. So doing an advanced search, you can get very specific. So there's location-based questions, time of year. If they, for some reason, know the exact name of a partner institution, they can look by that. You can look at programs through class standing, area of study, language of instruction, housing options, GPA. Like there's a million different options for them to look through. If they're sort of navigating this before they come to see you, it is a bit of a clunky website. So if you're searching for too many things at once, it does get a little bit bogged down. It doesn't necessarily pop up all of the options. So I always recommend they look sort of by one or two options to start. Looking at an example program page, let's go to Paradise. All of our program web pages have the same sort of tabs of information. Some of it might vary based on the type of program, but overall, there's an overview page which gives them the information about the type of program, their class standing, any needed GPA or housing options, things like that. The financial information tab gives them the overview on the overall cost of programs, the program free breakdown, so what's included in that cost, a note about the fact that tuition is an additional fee on top of these program fees. All of our programs are for credit, whether that's 1 credit hour all the way up to, again, a full course load. They are all for credit, so there are tuition fees in addition to all of the program fees. Additionally, usually airfare is not included. Certain personal charges, obviously, a passport processing fee, personal expenses, souvenirs, things like that. So there's an additional breakdown at the bottom on additional things to budget for. And then on each program tab, again, there are academic information tabs. So when I have advising with students and I'm requesting that they go speak with their academic advisor after meeting with me, I show them these tabs so they know where they can the course information that's associated with the programs. Again, the faculty lit is a bit simpler because there's less courses associated with it. Typically, it is one specific 3 credit hour course. For certain, say, business programs, there are several different opportunities they can choose from, but it'll still just be the one 3 credit hour course they get in combination with that program. Exchange, again, there would be a sort of catalog for a whole semester worth of courses. So they can bring to you the 3 or whatever programs they choose, all of the offerings. So you can kind of help pinpoint which credits or programs will be kind of better for them. I think that's kind of really the only things that you'd be kind of navigating on this website in addition to students. But in some, there's a lot of information on here. Students don't read all of it. So we sort of re-navigate into the website initially whenever there are specific questions, but of course you can always navigate them back to me, or you can message me specifically if there's any questions or issues with the website or program search in general. General on-campus resources for students or faculty even to attend. Money Matters is a new series we've done in collaboration with financial aid. We do have once a month now sessions for talking about budgeting, looking at the individual students' aid packages, how scholarships can aid them, additional things that we recommend they apply for in terms of financial and how that works in conjunction with studying abroad. The new dates are still to be determined, but we will have updates on that on Academica. The Study Abroad Fair, it's an annual event always on the first Wednesday of October. This year it's on October 1st from 12 to 3 in the Gullen Mall. Information is available on Get Involved, but we've been recommending and flyering to all students on campus to come to this event. It's a two-part sort of event with OISS. So the international student clubs will be there selling food. Our component is with all of the faculty leaders for the faculty-led programs. Our exchange contact will be there to discuss those longer-term options. Former study abroad students will be there to help explain the programs or answer any questions or talk about their own experience. Some external organizations like the Passport Agency, Peace Corps, things like that will be there. So it's a great resource, not only for students to see what options are available to them, but also if on-campus faculty are interested in coming and asking about creating their own programs, or if advisors wanted to come and ask questions about any of the specific aspects of programs, or just learn more about what is available per department for students. It's just open to everybody. So I encourage you all to join if you have time, or at least stop by or try any of the international foods there. And then, of course, advising really at any point. We have an upcoming integration with STARS. I know Lauren on STARS, but soon our advisors will also be on there. Currently, it's just sort of emailing either the student assistant email or our personal emails, which are located on the website, to schedule an advising appointment. But of course, I'm happy to do that at any point. We will have additionally program updates in terms of deadlines, when applications are open, things like that on Academica as well. My contact information, we're going to be sharing these presentations. So if you have any questions separately, you can always reach out to me. Our website, again, has tons of great information on both the Wayne website and the Study Abroad application website. So please feel free to take a look through that and let me know if you have any questions on anything. But in general, at this point, does anybody have any questions over any of the programs or any of the opportunities or just anything in general? Lauren, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, and we'll pause for questions again at the end of my presentation, so feel free to come back with them. Let me just get my screen share queued up. Okay. Hi. So I know that maybe you did not come to hear about the Office of Fellowships today, but guess what? We are now under the Education Abroad heading. I'm co-located with the Study Abroad office over in Manoogian. So we thought this was a great opportunity to collaborate and to talk with advisors about what's going on with the Office of Fellowships. So away we go. The Office of Fellowships is me and Dr. Kevin Deegan-Krause, known on campus as KDK. So who are we? I know many of you. I was an advisor in class for a while before taking this position in January. I also don't know a lot of you, so I'm really thrilled to be meeting you maybe for the first time. Before I came to Wayne State, I worked in a fellowships office at another university. So even when I was advising, I was sort of dabbling in this, and now I get to do it full time, which is a dream come true. And KDK is the best. He's been a consistent fellowships voice and supporter on campus for years, had many of these experiences himself as an undergrad. And so that's who's doing this work. So what is a fellowship is probably a good place to start. So a fellowship would be an externally funded opportunity that fuels academic and professional growth, increasing an individual's opportunity to make impact. So this competitively awarded funding is coming from not Wayne State, right? It's coming from the US government or a foreign government, a private foundation, a nonprofit entity. And, the experiences that a fellowship funds range from the academic to the experiential, short term, like a summer program, to longer term, like a postgraduate program that might last a couple of years. They can be local, they can be international. So it is important to note that while many of these opportunities are international, they are not always international. And they have varying eligibility requirements. So, how close to graduation do you need to be eligible? What citizenship do you need to hold? Would there be a GPA minimum? They also are all going to have in common a substantive application process that takes place well in advance of of the actual opportunity itself and on set cycles. So maybe once a year, applications open for a certain program. And the applications are typically going to include things like essay responses, letters of recommendation, etc. Sometimes they have to be nominated by the university first. So for every cool opportunity, there's its own eligibility requirements and process involved with applying. And so that's what we're here for, is to help students navigate that. So what do? We help students to explore and apply for fellowships. And by that, we characterize our role according to these nice space metaphors that KDK came up with. So door opening, we make students and campus partners aware of the fact that these opportunities exist. We offer navigation guidance and guidance about fit, which goes beyond just eligibility. Horizon lifting, helping our students and alums realize that they can successfully compete for these opportunities. They should shoot the shot because these are for them too. And then star making. So this is helping candidates make their strongest possible application so that they can stand out in a competitive field. That comes from sharing resources and our deep knowledge of best practices, feedback on written materials, practice interviews, and just sort of general sounding board, brainstorming, cheerleading support. So this is what our website looks like. And I've highlighted that gray box over to the side because that is some important resources. There's a Canvas page, which you are also welcome to join. It's just a self-enroll button there. And we use Canvas instead of a listserv. So we make lots of announcements about opportunities and fellowships that are coming available. We also have a STARS link. So thanks to my history as an advisor, I'm an enthusiastic STARS user, and students can jump right on my calendar to talk with me about fellowships. I will take this opportunity to say I have met with over 90 unique students since taking this role in January, and in many cases meeting with students more than once. So this is absolutely an advising service, and I love getting to talk to all of your students. We have lists on Canvas and on our website of different opportunities, though they're not 100% comprehensive. So our website and our Canvas page are important resources for connecting with students and with partners. Okay, so why would a student apply for a fellowship? So there's the thing itself, right? And I realize I haven't really given any examples because they're all so different. For example, the Fulbright US student program, for which the final deadline is coming up in a couple of weeks on October 7th, is a chance for rising seniors, alums, graduate students to apply to spend about a year in one of about 140 countries, either conducting research of their own design, pursuing a graduate degree, or serving as an English teaching assistant in a foreign classroom. One example of a fellowship, right? So the opportunity to do the thing is in many cases reason enough, but that's not all. A fellowship is going to have really significant funding support, right? So in the Fulbright example, you're getting a monthly living stipend so that you can pay your rent and ride the bus and do the things that you need to do, as well as being flown to the host country at the start of the grant, home from the host country at the end of the grant. There is going to be a network involved in a fellowship, the expansion of a network. So, in many cases, your cohort, the other folks doing the fellowship at the same time as you, as well as an intergenerational network that you become a part of, having had this really unique experience. Typically, a fellowship would have professional development programming that sort of orbits around it. So, leadership development, professional skills, graduate school exploration, things of that nature. Future opportunities, things that you are now eligible to apply for because you have already done this other thing, which can lead to some really great snowball effects. And of course, it's prestigious, right? Your resume is gonna look great. But why really, right? These things are so competitive. Not every student who works hard on an application is going to be funded. More students will not be funded than will be funded. So why is this work so exciting to me and to KDK and hopefully to you too? For students who actively engage in a fellowship application process, there are positive outcomes that they can count on, even if they're not funded. So it's an opportunity for active self-reflection where you're really clarifying your goals, an opportunity to engage in goals-oriented research and planning, the thought experiment of an application, where in many cases you have to really articulate what it is you hope to do and how you hope to do it in a very specific way that makes students feel a bit uncomfortable at first until they've really learned sort of the benefit of doing their research in the landscape that they're looking to work in, and thinking through if all things went their way, what would be sort of the most powerful place for them to situate themselves in order to enact the change that they want to see, for example. These processes sharpen writing and oral communication skills. I mentioned that often there's numerous essays required in an application, and we give iterative feedback, so those essays get stronger and stronger the longer a student works on them. For fellowships that have interviews, we do practice interviews, and these tend to be fairly high pressure panel interviews, which is often a new experience for a student. So we are happy to help teach them and coach them in that space, leveling up relationships with their mentors, with their peers, and importantly, getting a head start. These skills that they build as fellowship applicants are highly transferable to other application processes like grad school, professional school, and even jobs. So we think participating in a fellowship application process is really, really beneficial in terms of student growth. So we can't do this work without you, right? These are your students that we're so lucky to get to work with when they come to see us. So there's lots of different ways that we can ask for support and collaboration. For example, referrals, right? Those wonderful students that you work with, those who seem, particularly engaged, particularly involved, particularly sort of awake, right? If you could send them, send me an email putting us all together, that means so much. I'm a stranger to many of our students until I'm not anymore. So when a mentor that they know and trust helps to facilitate the connection, it means so much. We would love to be invited into your space, advising events, departmental events, what have you, so that we can make the pitch sometimes in a more sort of specific way, highlighting specific awards and opportunities, for example, to help your students know of us as a resource. We have service opportunities available as an advisor, former advisor. I know that building the professional record is super important. And so there are ways to be involved with our office as, practice interviewer, for example. So if that's the kind of thing that would interest you, I don't have like a formalized sort of liaison thing set up yet. I'm still scrambling, having started in January. But if I know you're interested, then I will tap you on the shoulder first once I get something going. Collaborative initiatives, you guys are all so smart, so brilliant, so creative. Would love to brainstorm with you about ways that we can best support our students. And letters of recommendation sometimes. I see that my colleague Laura Hetzler is on the call, or was before. I remember a couple of years ago, Laura and I did a NACADA ATA thing about when advisors should not write letters of recommendation. That was sort of the headline, followed by, okay, if you're going to, here are some best practices. So I won't repeat all that now. I'll just say that if a student ever seeks a recommendation from you and you're not sure if you would serve them best by writing it or by coaching them on selecting another writer, never hesitate to reach out to me if it's a fellowship, to Laura if it's a pre-med, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it. That's the Office of Fellowships. That's our new sticker, which I think is super cute. Does anybody have any questions for me?
There's a question in the chat about an announcement or a flyer that can be shared on departmental Canvas pages.
That's a good question, Jeffrey. So a couple times a year, I anticipate reaching out broadly because there are some fellowships that are just so special that I need you to know about them. And when I do that, I will make sure to include, if not a flyer, at least some language that I would be asking you to share with students. In terms of just sort of like a flyer for general awareness, I have a few. And so I don't know if they'd be formatted the way that you want. As you can see, Sophia is a whiz with graphic design. And so she's helped me flyerize some of our content. And I'd be happy to share anything just for like, hey, this is an office. Come talk to this person. Other questions?
Sophia, there's a question in the chat for you. Says, I was wondering, once I see the classes a student wants to take with their study abroad program, do I follow up with you about my thoughts on how the proposed class will satisfy a gen ed requirement?
So this is one of my first years really working with the courses specifically. So historically, to my knowledge, it's sort of up to the discretion of the advisor in the department what will count towards what. I would say more often than not, I don't want to say any, but most of the program courses will definitely satisfy an elective requirement. It's easy to get them, or easier to get some of them to satisfy some of those gen ed or inquiry requirements rather than a major, depending whether or not the student is taking a program specific toward their major or minor, things like that. The only instance that I've personally dealt with thus far is sort of, I believe it was something way off base, like a business student trying to get the nursing program to count for a major related course. And obviously, like, no. But if you have any questions at any point about any of the courses, if I don't have those answers, I can always direct you to my supervisor, or I can do that legwork myself and send you the answers that I get. But typically, it's pretty straightforward in terms of which courses will go to what, especially faculty-led programs. I would say for the exchange programs with the amount of courses that they're taking, I would say more often than not, they are taking gen eds, electives, or those inquiry requirements.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out, Sophia, the follow through, because in the past I would have to like give some thoughts, and I didn't know if that was still the case or not.
I have not personally received communication about it. I can definitely inquire with my supervisor if she's had experience with that and sort of send you a more official response. But to my knowledge, no.
Okay. Because I mean, a lot of classes you can tell if it's like art history
Right,
class, that's going to be cultural inquiry. If it's,
right.
you know,
And we can
something
always
else,
provide
you know.
the exchange programs, of course, have that like long list of offerings. Sometimes they have like syllabi or at least a description that goes along with that. Faculty led, I'm able to give you sort of a syllabus for any of them. But if you have any specific questions, we can reach out to that exchange university or get whatever further information you need for it.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Other questions from people? Just a comment in the chat about that topic. Said you probably still need to go through the gen ed petition or the GEOC for it to populate where you want it to. Lauren, do you have examples of recent fellowships that Wayne State students have been able to secure?
Thank you so much for asking, Amanda. That's a fun question. So yeah, absolutely. Last year, Wayne State had its first ever Udall Scholar. That was Jonathan, a class student in the Honors College. The Udall Scholarship is for juniors and sophomores who are committed to environmental careers and have already begun to sort of show leadership and commitment in those spaces. And so Jonathan was recognized. In this case, the fellowship was actually a chunk of like a check that he could apply toward his education. And then he got to connect with other Udall scholars over the summer. We had 4 Gilman Scholars last year. Wayne State students have been receiving the Gilman Scholarship for some time, but never in numbers like that. And we're hoping to keep growing it. So the Gilman Scholarship is funding toward undergraduate study abroad for students who receive Pell Grants. That's the eligibility requirement. There's no program length requirement. There's no program time of year requirement. There's no class standing requirement. So if you have a student who wants to study abroad on a Wayne State program or a non-Wayne State program and money is an obstacle, we should absolutely talk about Gilman. And I'll say that right now I'm working with what I assume is going to be our largest ever pool of Fulbright applicants. So I'm hoping that when we talk next year, I'll be able to tell you that there are some great sort of Wayne State Fulbrighters headed abroad after graduation to teach English or do research or earn graduate degrees. Of course, there have been some in past years, but we're looking to grow that. And that's just recent. So I appreciate the opportunity to confirm that yes, indeed, Wayne State students are fellowships rock stars.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right. If not, I am going to drop a quick link in the chat for anybody who is level 2 certified that would like to record this session as part of their renewal, as one of their renewal sessions. So that link is in the chat right now. I thank everybody so much for coming, especially to Sophia and Lauren for all of this.
Sorry, there's one question in the chat. My answer. Just out of curiosity, what is Wayne State's most popular study abroad program or location? So in terms of a long-term program, the most competitive program that we have, it only allows 2 spots per semester, is the Salford program in Manchester. They will not extend the amount of offerings we have. So that is the most competitive one, of course. We get a lot of interest about it. I would say the most inquired about would be the JCMU Japan program at the moment, or any of our South Korea programs are very popular in terms of a long-term program. Short-term, we get the most inquiries about the nursing spring break program that is going to Belize this year. Sometimes that location changes, but otherwise, I would say the France and Spain program for business management was the most popular summer program last year.
Thank you. Laura's commenting that the Belize program is an amazing program.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Are you going to look into that flyer you said, Sophia? Are you going to or like Joffrey was asking about the flyer?
Sure.
Oh,
So we actually marketing materials. I do for both Lauren and study abroad. I have a OneDrive folder that I can share the flyers that we have just overall available. Or I can create a new one in which we update as we get new sort of content that we can share with Amanda to share with all of you, throughout the year.
I'm also remembering that I slapped something together for Zach to put in the FYS Canvas, and that would be a good one, because it was just sort of, here's my stars link, here's our Canvas link, here's our website. Have a great day. So it's not the prettiest thing ever, but I'll make sure you all get that.
Yeah, because I'm a pre-nursing advisor, Sophia, and it'd be fun to tell the students about the Belize program?
Sure. So I'll have the study abroad fair. Like I said, all of the faculty leaders attend. I create program specific flyers for that as well. So again, I could create a folder that has those separated for you so that you have access to each of those as well once they're updated. Has the cost and the requirement and just different bullet points about the programs on there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you want to send that along with the presentations, I can get that all out in one email.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Again, for those of you that would like to use this session to renew for your level 2 certification, there's a form in the chat that you can fill out. We will get the presentations and the recording out on the ETA listserv, and everybody have a great day.